guys, it's Carly here for MFT, and today I wanted to share with you a quick and easy way I stretch my craft supplies. So I'm going to DIY a stencil. I've got a piece of acetate and a die cut that I'm going to run through my die cut machine together. I could use cardstock for the stencil, but it's nice to have the clear acetate. It makes it a little bit easier to use the stencil later. Now, the really cool thing about these flower dies when you're cutting the flowers is all the pieces are grouped together. So that's the flower and then the two pieces you need for the middle. But I don't need those circle openings for my stencil. So I'm just going to grab some low-tack tape and cover them up with pieces on both sides. So now that my stencil is ready to go, I'm going to grab some white cardstock, some distress inks, and a blending brush. Now I'm opting for a blending brush with this stencil because it has a few sharp points where those petals come in. And if I was using a tool that had foam, the foam could kind of snag on those little sharp points. And so the blending brush keeps that from happening. So you can see in the video, I haven't tacked my stencil down. I'm just holding it in place with my hand while I ink blend. And there isn't really a very good reason for that. I was probably just being a little bit lazy. I knew the design I was going for. I wanted to use that stencil a bunch of times, and so I was probably just trying to hurry. Luckily, since it's a pretty solid design, there's not too many intricate details, and since I was only using 1 or 2 colors per flower, I managed to keep it in place while I was ink blending. But if I make this card again, I'll probably go ahead and tack it down so it has super, super crisp, clean edges. You can also see with that last flower why I really like making DIY stencils out of acetate, because then I could see how it was going to overlap and where I wanted it. Also, it's nice to be able to see how you position the last flower and help you decide how you want to rotate your stencil for the next one. For this card, I did really simple ink blends with just 2 colors mixing and then some solid color flowers as well. But I like that this card design would lend itself to other color palettes or also more complicated blends where I had more than 1 or 2 colors per flower. So I'm excited to try this one again. And I should also mention that DIY stencils are a great time to try out other mediums. Like if you want to try using glossy accents with a stencil or glitter paste or something like that, because if you get a lot of it all over the stencil and it dries too fast and it gets messy and gross, it doesn't matter. You can just pitch it in the trash and cut a new one. So now that I'm done with my flowers, I'm going to add some middles. And like I said, those shapes are all on one die. So I think it's easiest to run it through my die cut machine with 1 color of cardstock and then customize whatever layer I want later with alcohol ink markers or something else to make it easy. So this time I ran it through on white cardstock. So I've got the top part of the middle and the bottom part of the middle. I've colored the top black with just a Sharpie because it was handy. And then I'm just gluing it together with the white. So then the white shows through and I think it's really cute. After I've glued all the 2 layers of the middles together, I'm going to add them to the stenciled flowers on the card panel. And then I'm just going to use scissors to trim off any excess that's hanging over the edges. And then I'm going to add a sentiment. Now I like to test my sentiments before I commit to stamping on my actual card. So I've got it in my MISTI. I'm going to put a piece of acetate on top of it. Then I'm going to ink up my stamp and stamp it down onto that acetate to make sure I like where it's positioned. If I don't like it, I can clean off the acetate, clean off the stamp, move the stamp, try it again, make sure it's right, which I totally did in this case. Or if I do like it, I can just get that acetate out of the way, ink up the stamp, and stamp it again. Lastly, I grab a pen to add a little bit of faux splatter, and then I adhere the whole thing to a folded card. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were inspired to craft today, and I hope to see you again here soon. Thanks again, and happy crafting!